9 official visitors coming in this weekend. I think there's a few common themes when you start to look at this recruiting class and this opening weekend. Number one, the state of Texas. There's a number of high-profile players from the state of Texas.
5.
Make their way. So 5 of the 9 from Texas. But then the second trend is defensive backs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and some couple highly rated ones, but the Texas element is big. And that Texas element will continue too, obviously. I mean, this staff has decided to emphasize the state of Texas. June 23, I think, according to our visit list, 16 guys right now, 6 are from Texas. This is going to continue to be a theme. And the guys that, I'll tell you what, one thing you'll notice on here, Sean, is the guys that they've targeted. Texas Tech is going to be a school that Nebraska goes head to head with.
And guess who the connection there is? Joey McGuire, who took his first collegiate job under Matt Rule at Baylor. So they have a very similar evaluation system that looks at a lot of the same metrics, driven and a lot of times by speed numbers, track numbers. You go back to Jalen Lloyd. His other offer was Texas Tech.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a crossover there with Texas Tech and Nebraska. I want to even say Eric Fields had Texas Tech on him as well.
I think so. Now you look at that, look at Peyton Morgan. Texas Tech is on him. Carlon Jones, the Bay City, Texas defensive lineman, Texas Tech is on his list. Dante Carter, the safety from Cibolo, Texas Tech. So you'll probably continue to see that. But yeah, you're trying to go in and steal some guys. And frankly, they're going to try to make a living doing it. And this is going to be interesting right off the top to see, if you can go get a Peyton Morgan, get him away from Texas Tech, and pull him up here to our neck of the woods. This staff, and Matt Rule in particular, he made a living down there at Baylor Now Baylor's in the state though, it's a little different. The dynamics obviously are different now.
Yeah, you've seen, last year Nebraska took a record haul of players from Texas. I believe with Joshua Fleeks included, it was 7 players from the state of Texas came to Nebraska in the recruiting class. They've already gotten 3 for this upcoming year.
Right.
And, and I even throw like Oklahoma in there. That's kind of in the region. Eric Fields is from the Ardmore, Oklahoma area, but that is a hotbed for this staff. And I think that really is apparent by who they're bringing in this opening weekend. And it's important when you start to size up recruiting in the month of June.
Okay.
The biggest thing to know is official visits are gold. They're not just given out to people. You get 56 official visits by rule per year per school. So if you're being brought in on this opening weekend of June, you're a priority. If you have official visits set up with any other Power 5 school, generally you're a priority. But a lot of times, the deeper in the month you are with that official, you might be a plan B guy. And they could cancel that visit on you. But for Nebraska, the school could.
Or the school could too.
June 23rd, it's both ways because a kid might have you as a plan B too.
Right.
But June 23rd is Nebraska's that's their biggest weekend. They're banking on that as like their big weekend, which is the last weekend. So there's a lot of interesting strategy by Matt Rule in the staff with how they're going to backload June on the final weekend going into the dead period. But a lot of these kids get pressure put on them. I look at those Bellevue West kids, Davon Hall, Isaiah McMorris. They're scheduled to come to Nebraska the 23rd. McMorris, no other official visits set yet. Hall is not on an official to Tennessee this weekend. He's going to do a camp there to try to get an offer.
Yeah.
But both these young men, I think, are trying to bet on themselves a little bit, trying to drum up more committable opportunities. We know McMorris likes USC. We know McMorris has talked to Oklahoma, but Oklahoma's got kind of their receiver board in check right now. So it's stressful. I mean, I think
stressful for
the kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of prospects don't realize. Do you have a committable offer? And usually the June official visits are what tell you kind of where you stand with the team.
Yeah. I mean, you really watch Davon Hall and Isaiah McMorris. You watch those situations. Daniel Kalen's in the class of 2024, verbally committed. God, you'd think with Kalen in place that he could get one of those teammates to go with him, right?
Yeah, I would say McMorris is the more likely of the two.
Yeah, I've read that. I've read that you've said that.
I just think it doesn't have a good feel with Hall. We'll see how it goes out of Tennessee. I mean, I almost get the sense if Tennessee were to offer him, which I think is a big if, because their situation there, I think about the receiver position in general. There are 67 four-star better receivers in the class of 2024. That's a standard number, by the way. It's not some actually. I mean, so like that is a deep position every year. Just because you're a high 3 or even a 4-star, it doesn't necessarily mean you have committable situations at all the offers you have. You might have an offer. It doesn't mean you can commit to the offer.
Yeah, Davon Hall. Does he have his eye on the SEC? Is that?
I'd say Arkansas, A&M,
right,
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Those are all teams. But think about A&M if they have 2 to 3 receiver spots.
I get it.
That board's going to be competitive. Old Miss is going to be competitive. Arkansas.
Yeah. Listen, but look at where he's looking and looking at where McMorris is looking. Jay Norvell, who a friend of yours, the former Nebraska offensive coordinator. Yeah, mine too. Yeah. Former offensive coordinator here at Nebraska. He once told me that this was off the record, but I guess
take it on the record now.
All these years later, maybe it doesn't matter. He said it's hard to pull wide receivers into cold weather. It happens, obviously.
Michigan, Ohio State do it every
year.
Ohio
State's not really cold, but yeah, they play in a cold weather conference. Michigan, not as much, Sean. They're not loaded at receiver. They're not. I mean, I had to do their preview, and it's not like Ohio State.
Who was your geography teacher to tell you that Ohio is not a cold state?
Well. No, well, you're right. I mean,
we learned a little bit more in South Omaha about geography here.
But anyway, it's a harder pull to get those guys to cold. A lot of those guys are prima donnas that want to play in warm weather. That's what it comes down to.
And then the rebuttal.
And I don't even maybe I shouldn't, Sean. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even say prima donnas. They just want to play in warm weather. A lot of them.
And what's interesting though, it really doesn't get that cold anymore.
I mean, not really.
Like once out of 5, like this year, Wisconsin game was cold. But it had been relatively mild in Novembers.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Aprils have gotten colder here, but the flip side, the falls have gotten a little warmer. Like September's a hot month in Nebraska now.
Yeah. So this is it. It started up. I mean, today's June 2nd. The kids are on campus right now. I mean, Peyton Morgan and
9 visitors.
Yeah. Mario Buford and Carlon Jones and these guys, they're here.